Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm going to talk to you about the story of Perseus, also his mother. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about Perseus and his mom. But first, it starts off a little bit farther back than that. It starts off with two dudes, right? They're twin brothers, and they live on an island as usual. Okay, so here's your two brothers. One guy is named Perseus. I'm going to call him Acre for short. Okay, it's a long name. The other guy's name's a little easier to say. It's Protus. Okay, Acre and Protus were two brothers living on an island called Argos. It was actually a vale, but I'm going to call it an island because it makes more sense. Okay, all good stories should be on islands. And these two brothers, like many brothers, did not get along, okay? They had issues, as most people back then did, and as most people these days do. And they fought. Okay, they fought against each other quite a bit. So the first one to push was Acre. Okay, he pushed Protos off the island. He banished him as usual and kicked him off. Protos got a little angry. He went and hired a bunch of mercenaries, and he came back and kicked his brother Acre off. Okay, Acre and Protos fought back and forth for a long time. Eventually, they decided to settle. Okay, they got sick and tired of fighting. They still hated each other's guts, but they decided to split the island in half. Okay, so Argos was split in two, and the two brothers hated each other with a passion. Okay, these weren't the most pleasant people to hang around, but at least they were settled, if not a little bit angrily so. Okay, anyways, so one day, a prophet comes to Acre. Okay, I'm gonna draw my prophet here. A little scary man. Scary prophet, the kind of guy you do not want to mess with. Okay, and he said to Acre in a very scary voice, "Because you have risen up against your own brother, your own flesh and blood, it is by your own flesh and blood that you shall be overthrown. Your own kindred will punish you. Your daughter, Danae, shall bear a son, and by that son's hands you shall die. The gods have ordained it as such, and it will surely come to pass." Okay, so Acre was a little bit freaked out by this. He was like, who's this dude telling me what to do, telling me what my own daughter's son is going to do, what my own grandson's going to do? Okay, but, he's a prophet, okay? I believe in this kind of stuff. I'm pretty superstitious. Okay, he had a nice little young daughter named Danae. She was a very pretty girl. Everyone liked her. She never hurt anyone, okay? She was an innocent little girl. But, Acre, being the paranoid kind of dad that he was, he decided, okay, well, she's going to kill me, or her son's going to kill me. So I got to solve this right now. So what did Acre decide to do? The same thing any prudent young dictator would do. He locked her up, okay? He locked her up in a cave where no one could get to her and no one could impregnate her and cause her to have any babies. Because that's the last thing Acre wanted his daughter Danae to have, was to get pregnant. Okay, but one day mysteriously it came to pass that Danae got pregnant anyway. And she bore a son, okay? She was pregnant even though she was locked up, and somehow she had a son anyway. So Acre was a little bit angry at this, He was scared for his life. And you would have thought, maybe he would have tried to be nice, accept his son, maybe become more of a kindly king, especially when he knew he had angered the gods. But no, this man became incredibly cruel, much more cruel than he used to be, in fact, because he was terrified for his life. Okay, so what did he do to his daughter, Danae, and his son, Perseus? Okay, what he did is even more cruel. He locked them up in a giant chest. And with this chest, he had it thrown into the ocean. Not a very nice man, as you can tell. This chest floated around the ocean for days and days. And Danae and her son were locked inside, and they fell asleep and they woke up, and everything was not the best situation for these people. I mean, they're in the chest, floating around in the ocean, not knowing what's going to happen to them. Her own father had done this to her. She didn't know what to do. Think of what it would be like if you were in that kind of situation. Yeah, it's not the greatest, Okay. Anyway, they're floating around in the ocean. They're bobbing back and forth, and all of a sudden, something hits the chest. It turns out it's a fisherman's spear. Not only does the spear hit the chest, but a net seems to somehow embrace it. So finally something cuts her a break. It turns out that there was a good fisherman who had seen the chest floating around in the ocean. Now this was a fisherman who lived on an island. That island was called Seriphos. And this is the home of our young Perseus. And on this island lived a man named Dictys. This was a kindly young fisherman, or rather an old fisherman, who didn't have any children of his own. And when he opened the chest, he saw a lovely young damsel inside. "Oh, beautiful damsel, what chance has brought you to my island? Surely you are some king's daughter, and what boy is this? He seems more than a mere mortal." And of course, Danae was not sure what to say. In fact, she was sobbing and crying with the baby. "Tell me, to what island have I come upon? Unhappy that I am, and what fate have I suffered? Poor soul that I am." And Dictys said, "This island is Seriphos, and I am a Helen who dwells in it. And the men call me Dictys." And Danae said, "O sir, have pity on me, a stranger, to whom cruel fate has driven me to your island. Take me as your servant, and I will serve you for all the days of my life." But Dictys decided instead that he would treat her as his own daughter. I know, what a nice guy. You don't really have too many nice guys in a lot of these ancient Greek tales, but this Dictys was one of them, okay? He gets a palm tree on his island just because he's such a nice guy, okay? And he decided to take on this lovely young woman, Danae, to be his daughter. You know, he was already married. He was old, an elderly gentleman, didn't have any kids of his own, but he decided to take her upon himself as his daughter and raised her and her grandson. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how Perseus and his mom, Danae, got to the island of Seriphos. Thank you very much.